Welcome back, students. In the earlier part, we had discussed Joe's discovery of the Lawrence boy who used to peep out from the window looking at the girls playing in the garden. So, we had already seen that Joe had somehow figured out that the boy who used to stand in the window in the estate of Lawrence was nobody else but the Lawrence boy, and he had a brown face and he was unhappy, and usually he used to look around in the garden. Once she saw that he was looking down the garden when Beth and Amy were snowballing one another. So let us now see the further part. Like, that boy is suffering for society and fun, she said to herself. So when she saw the Lawrence boy for the very first time, this thing came into her mind that this particular boy is suffering for society and fun. That means he's all alone and he needs to be brought in contact of the society and have some fun. His grandpa does not know what's good for him and keep him shut up all alone. He needs a party of jolly boys to play with or somebody young and lively. I have a great mind to go over and tell the old gentleman so. So she said to herself that this is somehow the grandfather, that is the grandpa of that Lawrence boy, is somewhere stopping him and not letting him out to meet everybody around. So he needs a party of jolly boys. Jolly boys here means happy boys. He needs to be with children of his age and he has to have fun, live young. Instead of being all the time alone in his home, he needs to be in contact of the society. I have a great mind to go over and tell that old gentleman so. She had planned that someday, if she gets a chance, she's going to tell the grandfather that he should let his grandson out. The idea amused Joe, who liked to do daring things and was always scandalizing Meg by her queer performances. So the idea to go into the Lawrence's house somewhere amused Joe. Amused means entertained Joe. And she liked to do daring things and was always scandalizing Meg by her queer performances. Scandalizing here means she used to create a trouble for Meg by her all types of performances. Means she used to do something very funny, very naughty, and it would create a scandal, problem for everybody. The plan of going over was not forgotten, and when the snowy afternoon came, Joe resolved to try what could be done. So everything was prepared, well planned, and on a snowy afternoon she thought that let us try. So on a snowy afternoon, it was decided that she's going to do what was already decided, to break into the Lawrence's house. She saw Mr. Lawrence drive off and then sallied out to take her way down to the hedge, where she paused and took a survey. Sallied means she set out. She just sailed out and she was straight into the Lawrence's estate. And she saw that Mr. Lawrence, that old gentleman, he moved away from his house and she started to move down the hedge, means below the bushes. She just moved down from one estate to the another. She paused and took a survey. A survey means she took a small pause to examine everything, to check everything is all right in that particular estate. All quiet, curtains down at the lower windows, servants out of sight, and nothing human visible but a curly black head leaning on a thin hand at the upper window. So to just check that when she is going to trespass, means she is going to go from one estate to another without anybody's permission. Mr. Lawrence driving off without taking any permission, she is going to go in other estate and she is checking for servants so that nobody catches her. And she says that nothing is visible, just a curly black head leaning on a thin hand at the upper window. Means she saw the Lawrence boy whose head was curly, means whose hair were curly black, and he was leaning on his hand and looking out of the upper window. There he is, thought Joe, poor boy, all alone and sick this dismal day. And it's shame, I'll toss up a snowball and make him look out and then say a kind word to him. So she had planned that. She saw the poor boy. She's saying to herself, what a poor boy who cannot enjoy anything, all alone, sick this dismal day. Dismal means depressing day. It is such a shame that on such a wonderful afternoon, this particular boy is inside his home. Maybe he's locked inside his home. Nobody's allowing him outside. So let us do something. I'll toss up a snowball. Means I'll take a snowball, I'll hit him or beat him with that particular snowball, and then I'll say a kind word to him. This was what she had planned. So then up went a handful of soft snow, and the head turned at once, showing a face which lost its listless look in a minute as the big eyes brightened and the mouth began to smile. So Joe's plan was very easy. She was going to throw a big snowball at the ball and she was going to start up the conversation. And she did so. She took a soft snowball. She made a very what do you say, small snowball, and she threw it at the window. And as it happened, that a face showed. Listless face means the face has no energy in it. But in a minute, the big eyes brightened. Brightened means the as soon as the eyes saw Joe, the eyes were cheered up. So there was a cheer in the boy's what is the entire body, and he was smiling. Joe nodded and laughed and flourished her broom as she called out. So as the person who was at the window, it looked down, and Joe started to speak. How do you do? Are you sick? So Joe's question was to him, how do you do means, are you fine? How are you? Are you sick? Laurie opened the window and croaked out as hoarsely as a raven. So here raven is actually a crow. So Laurie is the name of the boy, the Lawrence boy who lives next to Joe's house. And he just opened the window and croaked out. Croaked out means in a very harsh manner, in a harsh words, he said that, better thank you. I have had a bad cold and been shut up a week. He said that better thank you means I'm okay, I'm all right. Thank you for that. But I have a bad cold means I'm sick, and that's why I'm inside for a whole week. I'm sorry. What do you amuse yourself with? So she's saying that I'm very sorry. I thought that maybe you're not happy. So how do you amuse? Amuse means entertain yourself when you're all alone at your home. Nothing. It's as dull as tombs up here. So he's saying that nothing amuses me. There is nothing to entertain myself. So as dull as tombs. Discuss the name and figure of speech. So as we see, there is a comparison because of the words used as dull as. So the figure of speech is simile, also known as simile. Okay. So don't you read? Not much. They won't let me. Can't somebody read to you? Grandpa does sometimes, but my books don't interest him, and I hate to ask Brooke all the time. Have someone come and see you then. There isn't anyone I'd like to see. Boys make such a row, and my head is weak. So, this is the conversation between Joe and Laurie, the boy who lives next door. And there is a lot of conversation where Joe is asking a number of questions to him, and he is answering a number of questions. So, some of the questions he answers, and he said that his grandpa sometimes reads books to him, but they don't interest him. Means these books are maybe for small children, so there is nothing interesting for the grandpa. And Brooke may be somebody who's working at his home, maybe his home service somebody. So she's asking, does anybody come to see you? So his answer is no, I don't. Means there isn't anyone I'd like to see, because boys make such a row. Such a row here means boys make a lot of noise here, and my head is weak, and I don't like boys who are making a lot of noise. So, isn't there some nice girl who'd read and amuse you? Girls are quiet and like to play nurse. So, Joe's question was, okay, boys make a lot of noise, that's fine. Nobody wants such boys around. But isn't there any nice girl who's your friend and who likes to read you books or amuses you in some kind of way? Because girls are very quiet and they like to play nurse. Means it is the girls who like to play it very nicely and sweetly, and they'll try to help you. So isn't there any boy or girl around you? So next, what happened? Don't know any, was the reply of Laurie. You know us, began Joe, then laughed and stopped. So I do. Will you come, please? Cried Laurie. So after that actual conversation between Joe and Laurie, Laurie somewhere invited Joe to her house, to his house, because he didn't knew anybody, and Joe had already told him that you know us, so I can come by. So I'm not quiet and nice, but I'll come. If mother will let me, I'll go ask her. Shut the window like a good boy and wait till I come. So this is what she ordered Laurie. So Laurie is a very, what do you say, he's kind-hearted boy. We can tell about that. He's quiet and he's very nice to Joe. With that, Joe shouldered her broom and marched into the house, wondering what they would all say to her. Laurie was in a flutter of excitement at the idea of having company and flew about to get ready. As Mrs. March said, he was a little gentleman and did honor to the coming guest by brushing his curly pate, putting on a fresh color, and trying to tidy up the room, which, in spite of half a dozen servants, was anything but neat. So Laurie just took the idea that yes, Joe is going to come to my house, she's going to visit me, and Joe left him saying that she's going to take the permission of her mother and then she can come. So he started to what do you say, for the very first time someone was going to come in Laurie's house, so he started to prepare himself. So he did was brush his curly hair, he put on a fresh color, means he tried to wear something which is fresh in color, maybe a different color. He tidied up the room. Now, in spite of having so many servants, a dozen of servants, means he's very rich. His servants had already what is cleaned the room, put everything in place, but yes, he wanted to keep everything neat. And then presently there came a loud ring. Then a decided voice asking for Mr. Lorry, and a surprised looking servant came running up to announce a young lady. So there was a what is a loud ring at the door, and the servant came running that Mr. Lorry, there is a young lady, Miss Joe has arrived. All right, show her up. It's Miss Joe, said Lorry, going to the door of his little parlor to meet Joe, who appeared looking rosy and quite at her ease with a covered dish in one hand and Beth's three kittens in the other. So Joe had finally arrived at Laurie's place. Now what, she looked very what is it, simple as she was. Rosie means she had cleaned her face. She was wearing nice clothes and she had come to meet Laurie. So she was carrying a covered dish. Maybe her mother sent something to eat for Laurie. And in another hand, she had Beth's three kittens. So, all right, show her up. It's Miss Joe, said Laurie, going to the door and his little parlor to meet Joe, who appeared looking rosy and quite at her ease, with a covered dish in one hand and Beth's three kittens in the other. So, Joe has appeared to Laurie's home. Here I am, bag and baggage, she said briskly. Briskly means very quickly. Bag and baggage means she's saying that she's going to have a lot of fun here. I am like the bag and the baggage. Mother sent her love and was glad if I could do anything for you. Meg wanted me to bring some of her plank magne. She makes it very nicely, and Beth thought her cats would be comforting. So all the three sisters had sent something or the other to make Laurie feel comfortable. Mother sent her wishes that maybe he'll get what do you say, better soon. So blank magne is a type of dish made with almond flavored milk pudding. So you can say it is a milk covered with almonds. Okay, so I knew you'd laugh at them, but I couldn't refuse. She was so anxious to do something. Anxious means eager. So everybody had sent something or the other. Meg sent what do you say, almond flavored milk. Mother sent her love, and Beth had given her kittens to play with them. It so happened that Beth's funny loan was just the thing for laughing over the kids. Kids means the kittens. Laurie forgot his bashfulness and grew sociable at once. Bashfulness means he was very shy, he didn't speak with anybody. But that day it happened to be that he spoke with Joe, and now he's talking with Joe again at his home, and he's very easy with her. That looks too pretty to eat, he said, smiling with pleasure as Joe uncovered the dish and showed the blank magne surrounded by a garland of green leaves and the scarlet flowers of Amy's pet geranium. So, geranium is a type of flower with red color flowers on it and with orange dots on them. So it isn't anything, only they all felt kindly and wanted to show it. So everybody had shared something or the other for Laurie, and he thought that it was just too much, but she said that nothing, it was nothing actually. They just wanted to show it to you. So at once he said that we should keep all the pudding for the tea. It is so simple and you can eat it, and being soft it will slip down without hurting your sore throat. What a cozy room this is. So after speaking a lot for the beginning with Lori. She said that it is such a delicious dish that you could even have it with your tea, and it is so soft that you don't have to bite it because you have sore throat, you have cold, so it will just slip down. It is that easy. And suddenly she says that what a cozy room this is. It might be if it was kept nice, but the maids are lazy and I don't know how to make them mind. It worries me though. Now Laurie speaking, that Laurie says that this particular room is quite good. In spite of so many servants minding the room, cleaning the room, he does not know how to stop them or how to tell them that he wants to make it better. It'll write it up in 2 minutes, for it only needs to have the hearth brushed and so the things made straight on the mantelpiece, so and the books put here and the bottles there and your sofa turned from the light and the pillows plumped up a bit. Now then you're fixed. So suddenly Joe started to manage his room, and she told him that we should do these things here, means if you could just brush these things up or change the mantelpiece, and the book should be here, the bottles here. And suddenly she was changing his entire room, she was guiding him, and she said that this is that easy, now it is fixed. And so and he was, for as she laughed and talked, Joe had whisked things into place and given quite a different air to the room. So she had just changed quickly everything which was kept at a proper place. She now changed the entire way the entire room looked, and it looked really very different. Means the room looked really cheerful. Laurie watched her in respectful silence, and when she beckoned here means she waved him the sofa. He sat down with a sigh of satisfaction, saying gratefully, "How kind you are." Yes, that's what it wanted. Now please take the big chair and let me do something to amuse my company. So Laurie just saw everything, and very quietly, the way she changed his room, he was just quietly looking at everything, and he sat down and he told her, now let me do something for you, because you're so kind that you changed the things in my room. You made my entire room look so beautiful and just look cheerful. Now let me do something for you. No, I came to amuse you. Shall I read aloud? And Joe looked affectionately towards some inviting books nearby. So actually Joe wanted to amuse Laurie because she felt that Laurie is alone and Laurie needed somebody to be around. So she said that instead of I enjoying your company, I think you should enjoy my company. And she saw some books and she said, she said that should I read these books to you, because those books are inviting, means those books really look very nice to me, and should I read it? Thank you, I've read all those, and if you don't mind, I'd rather talk, answered Laurie. So Laurie said, instead of you reading me the books, I have already read all of them. Instead of that, I want you to sit here and talk with me. So Laurie wanted to talk with Joe, but Joe said, not a bit. I'll talk all day if you'll only set me going. Beth says I never know when to stop. Is Beth the rosy one who stays at home good deal and sometimes goes out with a little basket? Asked Laurie with interest. So Joe said that I don't know, because my elder sister or one of my sisters says that I don't know when to stop. If I start talking, I will keep on talking and talking and talking, and you'll be bored. So Laurie is asking, is Beth the rosy one? Rosy one means maybe because of her color or maybe because of the cheeks. So he's saying, yes, yes, that's Beth. Yes, that's Beth. She's my girl, and a regular good one she is too. The pretty one is Meg, and the curly haired one is Amy, I believe. So now Laurie started to name all the sisters of Joe, because somehow he knows all the girls. So it is her question now, how did you find that out? So it is quite a surprise for Joe that how did Laurie, who's all the way in his room, in his home, know all the names of all the girls? Laurie colored up. Colored up here means Laurie felt very shy. He answered frankly, why you see, I often hear you calling to one another, and when I'm alone up here. So he said that it is very easy answer. See, I'm your neighbor and I see you all the time. You're calling each other's names. So and I don't have any other work also here. So I can actually tell you exactly who is which girl. I can't help looking over at your house. You always seem to have such good times. I beg your pardon for being so rude, but sometimes you forgot to put down the curtain at the window where the flowers are. So somehow Laurie knows everything about Jo and her family, and he's saying that I can't help it. I'm all alone here, and I sometimes see everything in your home, and I see how good times you have. Good times means how happy you are, and the lamps are lighted. It's like looking at a picture to see at the fire, and you all around the table with your mother. So exactly now what he wanted to tell Joe was coming up. He said that you were all enjoying your life with your mother. Her face is the right opposite and it looks so sweet behind the flowers. I can't help watching it. I haven't got any mother, you know. And Laurie poked the fire to hide a little twitching of the lips that he could not control. So finally we come to know that Laurie doesn't have any mother, and he's somehow what do you say, feels that very lonely. And when he sees Joe and her sisters and their mother, he feels very happy, and he's just trying to tell her the exact thing that when I see your mother I can feel very happy. I understand how good time you can have with your mother, because I don't have any mother. And suddenly there was a twitch in his lips. Twitch means suddenly maybe he was very emotional, or maybe he couldn't speak anything and his lips were not in his control.